Go live. Wait, you talk real quick.
Talking.
There you
I
go.
am talking.
Yeah, you're coming through. That's good. That's good.
What are
Sweet,
you
sweet,
talking
sweet.
about?
We are officially live, dude. How you been,
Welcome
Caleb?
back, everybody.
How you been, Caleb?
Busy. How about you?
Busy too, man. But living the dream. Can't complain. Enjoy,
Absolutely.
enjoying life. Uh, let's see. We got a live, dude. We haven't had one of these in a while. Are you excited?
I'm so excited. If you guys are just tuning in, smash the like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah. Smash like and subscribe. Let us know you're here. Comment or something. I think I can see it if you guys comment. I should be able to see it live. So
You'll have to read and see them.
yeah, I'll definitely do that. So, we are going to be discussing a very important topic today. One that I think is very cool. It is how to retrain your brain, and to begin changing your negative thinking. I feel like this is a huge topic. It's something we don't really talk about a lot. We talk about thinking positively, but we don't. And we talk about how to stop thinking negatively, but now this is more like the biology of things and like neural responses and stuff like that. Now we're not gonna go like totally in depth into science, but
We're
Joshy
not trying
with
to
what's
put
up?
you to sleep one day either.
Yeah, right. What's up, Joshy? Thanks for letting us know where you're here. Appreciate you, man. I think you're always like the first person in here, so
Or the
respect, bro.
only.
Respect, yeah, and the only right. So, moving into to today's episode, I want to talk about kind of like neural responses. I think that's a good spot to start. And so basically, what that is, what that is kind of interpreted as, and what it really is when your brain comprehends something and your physiology reacts in a certain way. So one example I always like to use are like scary movies, because scary movies are always they're always consistent with how you feel, the physiology behind it, how your body reacts, how your mind reacts. And, your palms start to sweat. You start to hide yourself in the blanket. You cover your eyes, and you get like you're totally on edge. So as soon as something jumps, you're like. So it's like one of those situations that kind of programs you to head into like the scared side of it. And now that's obviously an extreme example, but extreme examples are the best examples. And so going into the other side of like the excitement and the fun of it is like if you go to the casino, right? And say you win a big ticket and you're like, oh, this is so awesome, and you get all pumped up. Or if you go to like a new iPhone just launched, right? The iPhone 14 just came out, and I bet all the Apple geeks were watching it like, this is awesome, a new phone's coming out. And so there's those two sides of it. But now Caleb, I'm gonna ask you, what do you feel when watching a scary movie? Like, how is your body reacting?
I don't know. I guess kind of a middle ground. I personally love horror movies,
Mm-hmm.
so
I guess
um,
I'll say like fear in general. How is your body reacting?
Hmm. I would say like between like the classic fight or flight or
Mm-hmm.
freeze. I think those are the main three, right?
Yeah. So it's like the elevated heart rate and like the sweaty palms and kind of like the racing thoughts, stuff like that. And now, how does your body react to excitement?
Pretty similarly, honestly.
Yeah. And so really the only difference between those two is how you're thinking up here. How is your mind associating it? And so this is like a big thing with people with anxiety is you kind of are confused with your emotions, and something that typically excites you or like, elevates your heart rate and gets your thoughts like pumping and gets your blood going. You can kind of associate that to like panic and anxiety, even if it's an exciting thing. And so it's the neural pathways when you're thinking about something and you associate that and you create that link and you create that pathway. It just generates that kind of habitual, I guess, characteristic that you then apply to your identity. And so I wanted to talk about like what follows it, how to prevent it, stuff like that. So let's see. Repetition is the mother of skill. I wanted to bring that up because I love that point so much. Whether it's in good things or bad things, when it comes to creating these neural pathways, repetition is the mother of skill. So if I wake up every morning and I tell myself it's a beautiful day, I'm going to be so excited to go to work, all of these things, and I tell myself that every day, then every day when I wake up, that's what I'm truly going to believe. That's actually what I'm going to feel when I wake up. Now, if I wake up every day and I tell myself, man, this sucks, I don't want to go to work, I'm sad, all that stuff, that's also going to be true. It depends on totally which way you go. You can lie to yourself every day, and as long as you repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. Now, obviously, to some extent, you have to put emotion into it, but to some extent, you creating that subconscious pathway every day is going to make it become real.
And the beauty of the human mind, one of the many amazing things, is how easily we can trick our brains.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One thing they tell you when you're just doing something as simple as studying or reading, if you do it in bed in a spot where your brain knows, hey, it's time to kick back, it's time to get ready to sleep, you will start to associate the idea of homework with falling asleep. And so every time you think of homework, you start getting tired.
Mm-hmm.
Something as simple as like your location of doing something and training your brain over and over again. It is crazy how quickly it latches on and how hard it stays latched to that. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, and it's purely the crazy thing is like a lot of people don't really understand like the subconscious mind or like what it even means when you say that. Um, and it's totally just that. It is totally just the subconscious mind. It's like, for a while in my life, I would always ask myself, like, why do I get so tired after eating? And it's because typically I would eat so late at night that my body is just ready to fall asleep after dinner, like after a big meal. And so this is when I was on my really unhealthy schedule. I would not eat all day. And then right before bed, I would eat a huge meal. And so then right after my huge meal, I would go to sleep. And then every time after that, when I'm starting to get out of that routine, every time I ate a big meal, I'm like, why am I tired? Why does my body feel tired? And it's like that is the subconscious part of your body like expressing itself, right? You build these routines and you build these habits and your body understands and adapts to them. You just need to be guiding it in the proper direction.
And people do like to refute with the subconscious is uncontrollable. It is not uncontrollable. It just takes a lot of
Yeah.
time and a lot of effort.
Repetition is it's crazy. Now I really like this point that actually Brandon Granger brought up to me. We had a talk a couple weeks back, and he brought up something really great. He used to, because Brandon was on here, he shared his story about his anxiety and everything he dealt with back then. And one thing that he shared with me, one thing that really helped him was remembering his physiology. And so when he would go through experiences of happiness, and this is all he focused on was happiness, when he would go through something that excited him or made him smile, he tried to remember things that like his body was doing in the moment. So like whether it was like, he smiles and he like rubs his hands together or he like pats his legs, whatever he does when he's like upbeat and excited. Um, Whenever he would start to feel either anxious or scared or whatever, that panic kind of set in, he would repeat that same physiology that he has when he was happy, and his body just immediately just like remembered when like that's like my happy mode, right? And so like remember when I used to tell you that I had the hype mirror like at Key, and so every time I would go in there and I look at that mirror, I'm like, yeah, dude, like that dude looking back at me, he's the coolest guy ever. And so like that kind of just set in that physiology. And I think that's a great thing that everyone should try to practice is when you're in your happy moments, you should try to remember your physiology, remember what your body's doing, see how you're acting, and try to replicate that in your times of peril or your times of stress and see how it affects you.
And if you're really having a hard time tracking it, just go off of common knowledge in terms of, when you hear body language when you're confident, it's
Hmm.
always shoulders back. So if you force yourself to keep your shoulders back, it's crazy the small adjustment, literally, like it's one small thing you can do walking into a grocery store where you're just like, I feel kind of like more confident.
Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely love that. Now, one thing that I kind of wanted to revert back to was like the scary movie example. So how the feelings are so extreme, and then also like say you want to jackpot at a casino, the feelings are so extreme. Now those are obviously extreme examples, kind of the peak of either side. Now, what is the connection there? Like, how do you come back to that middle ground of like, say you're always on the negative side, right? Like you when you express those big wins and when you get those big victories in life, they seem overwhelming almost, and it kind of takes the joy out of it. So you need to like step away from this line and come more towards the middle so that everything's kind of like in this nice flow of I don't know what to call it, but that kind of like nirvana area where everything's kind of peaceful. And so I'm just trying to figure out like how do you get to that point right in the middle? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, what I would say is just keep in mind sort of a very basic, simple term. Said it before, but this too shall pass. It's just one of my favorites. It's kind of just keeping yourself grounded in the present. But I have a feeling you have a different answer.
No, I actually I don't have an answer. I'm curious what you would say to that. I know Tony Robbins talks a lot about just things that we see in general when it comes to marketing. Now, when he made these tapes that I listened to, it was like early '90s, so it was a much different world back then. But he talks about he used to talk a lot about cigarettes and like how people in the '90s, all the commercials and stuff like that. If you're smoking a cigarette, you were cool. You had all the ladies, all of these things. So what did everyone do? Like, I don't. So like people who smoke cigarettes, they always say like, "Oh, it tastes so bad." And then people, if you ever smell, someone goes smoke a cigarette, they come back, they smell, they have the smell on them, and so it's like, how do you convince? I don't know what percent it is. I didn't look at the statistics, but how do you convince such a large percentage of people to smoke cigarettes when it smells bad, it tastes bad, and it's just gross? They're cheap. How do you do it? And so it really is like that subconscious, and at that point it's marketing. But in like nowadays, I don't know what to relate it to. I guess you could relate it to smoking as well. It's the same thing. But like how was that portrayed as such a like luxury and that you're cool if you do it? So it's just one of those things to think about. It's weird, you know. So creating those neural pathways. So
Mhm.
now when it comes to your life, like let's say you struggle with working out. Well, working out, it's like you don't see a lot of benefit to it right away. There's not the instant gratification. Your body hurts. You need to eat healthier, and it takes up time. Why would you do it? And so it's that same thing of trying to I guess get a good vantage point and try to properly adjust it to fit into your life. Whether you have to lie to yourself for the first 3 months you're trying to get into it and make those neural pathways and remind yourself that it's gonna be worth it in the long run, there's definitely gonna be a way to do it, and you just have to find it.
And that's the beauty of it. If you choose to want something, right? Whether
Mm-hmm.
you want it in the moment and you have those times where you're like, no, I don't want to go. If you get yourself there enough times, I believe what was the number? It was 66 days,
Yeah,
right? Was the average.
for the habit.
Uh, yeah. So shoot for that magic 66 number.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you hit that, you won't even have to want to go or not. You will just go. If you can commit to something for a minimum of 66 days and you do it every day that you're supposed to do it at the time you're supposed to do it for 66 days, that's nothing. That's
Mm-hmm.
a blip of time come in the grand scheme of things. All you have to do is commit for that time frame and you will do it without even thinking about it. It will become such a habit that you're doing it and you're going, wow, wow,
Mm-hmm.
oh, get here.
Yeah, I guess this is kind of like our habit episode. So yeah, we back then the statistic was after 21 days, whatever you're trying to accomplish becomes easier. After 66 days, it becomes a habit, and after like 90, it becomes a lifestyle or something like that. And so when you're pushing yourself, it really is repetition is the mother of skill. So you have to keep pushing and have to keep pushing. And the good thing is it's very much so worth it, opposed to creating those negative associations with everything.
Well, and the biggest thing too, in terms of rewiring your brain, it sounds like such a huge monumental task. But when you break it down, nothing is some huge monumental task. They're
Right.
all just a series of small, sharply executed and well calculated maneuvers. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And then it just adds up over time. That's the whole point of anything. So when you think like, oh, I'm too negative of a person, there's no coming back for me. That is just not true. It's just going to take a little bit more elbow grease. It's going to
Yeah.
take a little bit more work for you, but that's totally okay. I mean, we all start in different places.
Yeah.
So you just got to not get ahead of yourself and just don't take some giant leap. We love baby steps for a reason.
Yeah, and it's crazy important in that situation. If you feel like you have felt, that the whole world's been against you your whole life, and that you are so much further behind than everyone else, it is so important to remember accountability. Because if you continue to sit in that spot and blame the rest of the world for what's happening to you, you're never going to get out of it. And so you
And it's
need what's that?
it's so easy to
Yeah,
blame
it's
anything else but you.
it's comfortable. It's so comfortable just to sit back and be like, well, this is I'm not where I want to be because of this guy, or I'm not where I want to be because of that.
And the worst part is there might be truth in that too. There might
Hmm.
be an ounce of truth and it turns into the only truth.
Right. But at the same time, those people who put you in that situation aren't going to be the ones to bring you out. You're going to be the one that has to bring you out. And it sucks that that has to happen. It really does. But, the longer you kind of sit in denial and don't understand that, the harder it is going to be to get out of that. And so I think that's super important.
If you're in a hole, you got to stop digging. It's the only way up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love the story of the mule that fell into the well.
Yep.
How the what was burying him actually saved him. And so kind of just like a quick summary of that story was, a mule fell into a well, farmer decided he's not worth saving anymore, so he's just going to bury him. And with each pile of dirt he threw in, the mule was able to shake it off, step up, shake it off, step up, shake it off, step up, until the mule eventually got out of the well. And the moral of the story was that, a lot of things in life that you think are keeping you down are the things that are actually going to be what you're using to step up. And so,
Or you can go watch 2 episodes ago.
yeah,
This is
or
your plug. Go watch it.
yeah, or just go watch 2 episodes ago. It's a great episode. Um, so I guess a lot of what we're talking about today is about building habits and kind of preventing yourself from falling into those bad mindsets and stop yourself from creating those bad pathways to certain things, and understand that the brain's kind of whatever you choose it to be. You have to be persistent with it, and repetition is the mother of skill.
Okay. One thing huge with rewiring here. Get a piece of paper. This is a crazy task. It sounds insane, but just attempt it, okay? Throughout the day, every time you have like a thought about yourself that you're aware of, write down what that thought is. Have one page be negative thoughts and one page be positive thoughts. To be able to rewire your brain, you have to be mindful of what is getting put into your brain. You can't just necessarily cut everything off, but you also don't want to be too open. If you're too open, bugs are going to get in. If you're too cut off, you're not going to get any of the good stuff. Think of your brain as a vehicle and the thoughts are gas. Okay? You want to put that premium in there if you want to run smooth, okay?
Yeah.
So give it a try. It's a very daunting task. It's very difficult. I bet maybe 5% of people will actually maybe do it, maybe less. We'll see.
Hmm.
But it's a really good way to get a grasp on whether you're a more positive or a more negative person.
Yeah. And then you can adjust from there. And so remember all the positive things you're telling yourself. Remember how you feel in the moment while you're telling yourself those positive things. And hold on to those and repeat those and repeat those and repeat those, because that can become your new reality.
Exactly.
So, all right, Caleb. I love today's episode. That was awesome. Kind of rewiring the brain into a more positive mindset. Do you have anything else you want to add to today's episode, or any major points you want to throw out there before it's over?
Just get moving on it now because, that hole's just going to keep getting deeper.
Yeah, yeah. So start digging your way out, and own up to it. Really do. So have accountability and put your best foot forward. You got this. All right. All right. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed the live, and I guess we will see you guys next week. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Peace.